Hey guys, so I hope you had an amazing holiday. We're kind of getting into the new year. I wanted to do a quick update on the Pyxis 6K. I've had it for some time now, so really can tell you about some things that I added to it, what works, and what I really enjoy about using this camera. So let's get into it. So for starters, I mean, this camera was a really good buy in my opinion, with the fact that I've been waiting for a camera like this for a really long time, and I think the form factor is spectacular. The image quality out of this camera is amazing, and I'm just going to get right down to it and tell you how it could be made better. But these are the two things that really drive me nuts about this camera. One is where the record button is. Only having that one record button on the left-hand side and not having some sort of visual up top or somewhere else. Hopefully that'll be fixed when we get that new monitor. But that's one of the things that I'm always double checking to see if I've recorded or if I've missed a shot. That's the only thing that kind of really drives me nuts about this camera. The other thing is, and again, this is going to be solved when that new monitor comes out finally, is having the ability to control on the monitor itself and not having to go on the side and do that. Again, if I'm by myself, I can figure it out. It's not an issue. There's also a video where I talk about shooting an open gate and having that monitor facing you as you're shooting it with a handle. And I think that is a really fun, innovative way to shoot. And it's perfect for vertical content or horizontal content and works really well. But let me stop blabbing. Let's talk a little bit about this camera and how I rigged it up and what worked for me. Again, I've stayed away from the cages just because once you put a cage on a camera, if the body style changes a little bit, that cage is absolutely useless unless you're selling it with the camera. And again, you're losing value on that. So I decided to go with the top plate and kind of build around it. Now, the one thing that I changed here since my last videos is I added the Blackmagic kind of side handle here. It does have a rosette, so I can use a handle, which is, to me, on all my cameras, is something that I used in the past and going forward. It's a really nice touch point to have on this camera, and I wouldn't do it any other way. The other thing is I changed the base plate, and now I'm using the Pro base plate. It's got a dovetail. And the reason I went with this is because they do something a little bit different. The base plate itself is traditionally wider than your typical 15mm rails, meaning it's giving you, more, obviously, width. Now, why is that important for this camera? Now, when you're using BPU batteries, you typically have no problem dealing with all the ports back here, which is fine. I think it's great when I'm using a BPU battery. It's a non-issue, really. But when I want to mount a VMount plate here, this is where it became a problem. I couldn't really get it flush, and I had to, really fiddle around to get the SDI ports. I found a way to make this work with this particular plate, which I put in my last video, and then add a little bit of a 15mm little rod here that you can get from SmallRig or whatever. It's about an inch and a half. Once I did that and I slide this in, I want to just show you how that kind of works. If I put this in on this rail now and bring it all the way flush, it will go flush and give me complete clearance back here. And let me show you how that works. So let me put the dovetail on. And this is a really nice kind of lightweight, but feels very heavy duty dovetail. And you can lock it just by using this locking mechanism here. So now it's all locked in. Now what I do is I take my plate. Before I tighten everything, I make sure that I plug it in, make sure that everything's going the right way. So this goes this way, and let's hook up our 2-pin LEMO to the camera to power the camera. This one is for the monitor, and let's get that going. So now that we have both our power connections hooked up on this, we're kind of ready to go. I can kind of rework where the cables go after the fact, but I want to show you what happens now. So now, because I put this little 15mm rod here, it falls right on the dovetail you know, perfectly aligns on there. And when I tighten it up, as you'll see here, now I have all the room I need to get all this stuff kind of connected without having to fiddle and everything else. And once I put the battery on, you'll see. Okay, so now I have the battery, still have a ton of room. Now for the cards, if I need to switch out cards, all I have to do is literally loosen this up, pull this back, do that, and then I can reach anything I want in there. I can do that on a tripod, not a problem. Bring this back, close things up, and then I'm back where I need to be, which to me really solved for that issue. As far as balance, it feels more balanced now that it's not all the way out here. And once I put a lens on here, it's completely balanced for me. Really trying to make my life a little bit easier. Again, I'm excited about the new monitor coming out because I think it's going to take some of the weight off. This monitor is a little bit heavier, but it is a transmitter for an external monitor. So I may use this depending on the type of projects I'm using. But, you know, going off, getting rid of the SDI, using the USB-C is going to be really nice. So again, this is the hookup with this camera. Let me just turn this stuff on real quick. Just make sure everything is powered and then show you how everything is all plugged in and good to go. So let me turn the battery on one sec. What I like about this MoMan battery as well is that it has a on-off switch, so it doesn't give out power when it's not needed, which is nice. So let me power the camera on now, wait till the monitor comes on, and then I will plug in my SDI. Yep, it's on. Okay, and as you can see, I have access to the back here, and it's kind of a non-issue. So you'll see the battery's slightly offset, giving me all this room over here, which I couldn't really do before, and it's flush right to the back. So now I've got this really balanced kit, which I really enjoy. Just bring that down, okay. Yeah, and that's it. That's really what I have to report right now. I wanted to talk about these additional new lenses. I also tested a really kind of inexpensive lens for the L mount, but I decided to go with PL. I'll talk about that in the next video and some other little things that I got over the holiday, and I'll get into that. So again, thanks for watching, guys. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions about any of the parts here, I'll leave links below. I will talk to you guys on the next one.